ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ। ਮੂਕ ਉਚਰਾ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰ ਖਟ ਪਿੰਗ ਗਿਰਨ ਚੜ ਜਾਏ। ਅੰਧ ਲਖੈ ਬਦਰੋ ਸੁਨੈ ਜੋ ਕਾਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਾਏ। ਅੰਧ ਲਖੈ ਬਦਰੋ ਸੁਨੈ ਜੋ ਕਾਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਾਏ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। So Sangat Ji, today we'll be starting Sri Sukhmani Sahib Ji's translations, and they'll be done in English for an ease of understanding. Before I start, I just want to point out that I'm in no rush to get through the Bani. The aim of these sessions is not to complete Sukhmani Sahib, the translations. The aim is to make the Bani more accessible so that each one of us can join with the Bani beyond the understanding of just reciting or listening. It's amazing if we all listen to Sukhmani Sahib, or if we can read it as well. That's amazing. Maharaj will obviously bless us with the phal, the rewards of doing so. But what's truly going to help us connect and grow even further is if we can make it accessible in our daily lives. If we can connect to it on a deeper aspect where we can change the people we are, where we can become better versions of ourselves because of Guru's Bani. That was the purpose of Gurbani. It's not just a mantra that we chant and we repeat. It's amazing if we do so, because Maharaj gives us that hukam, they give us that updesh, that we are to jap naam, we are to do it repeatedly. But it's all the more better if we understand what we're doing. Then we'd want to do it ourselves. Jadon sanu samajh pੈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, ਫਿਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਚਾਹ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਆ. We get that joy, that excitement, that we want to do it. It's not something that we're forced to do. So I just wanted to point out that I'm not going to rush through. It's okay if we don't do, a whole Ashtapadi per session. That's not my aim. I want to take it slow so that we all have something to take away. Another beinti, something that I would urge, is if you have like a book and a pen or a phone, feel free to take notes. And when you go home, reflect back on everything that we go through today. There'll be certain tasks that I'll put forward and say, you can do this. Do it. It makes so much of a difference. And I'm only saying this because I've done it myself. Everything that I'll tell you to do today, I'll do it as well when I go home. So let's join in this journey together. If we look at the name Sukhmani, Maharaj has blessed us with so much, because why are we all here? What are we doing in human form? Everything that we do is in search for sukh, for happiness. Does anybody do anything so that they can get dukh? Do you intentionally do something that will cause you pain? Everything we do is with the intention of having sukh, of being happy, of having a smile on our face. That's why we do everything. Maharaj blesses us with this Bani, Sukhmani. Sukh meaning peace, happiness, bliss. Mani is a pearl, it's jewelry. So Guru Sahib is saying that they're giving us this beautiful jewelry, these beautiful pearls of Sukh. They want us to wear this beauty around us, but it's not physical. It's not physical jewelry that we're wearing, or a watch, or anything that we like to adorn ourselves with. It's something internal that's making us beautiful, but it's also giving us a lot of peace, a lot of happiness. Because we have to understand that happiness and peace comes from within. We can't get it from anything external. We might think once I pass my exams, I'll be happy. After that, you have to get a job. Once I get my job, I'll be happy. But guess what? You'll be waiting for a promotion, for a pay rise. Once I get the pay rise, then I'll want a new car. I'll want a bigger house. I'll want to keep my children happy. We're never going to get sukh on the outside. It's an illusion, one that we're all trapped in. So the importance of the name itself, Sukhmani, Maharaj emphasizes it because it comes up 4 times in the Bani itself. Within Sukhmani Sahib, the word Sukhmani comes up 4 times. If we look at Japji Sahib, it comes up once. Maharaj says Jap, that's the name of the Bani. Over here the name of the Bani is Sukhmani, but it comes up 4 times. Sukhmani, Sukh Amrit Prabhnam, Bhagat Janaka Man Bisram. That's one of the instances where the name comes up within the Bani itself. The reason I mention this is because the power is in the name itself. If we remind ourselves that as I read this Bani, as I listen to this Bani, what is it giving me? Sukh. The power is in the name. So don't forget how important the name is. When we then begin to read Sukhmani Sahib or listen to it, when we listen to the Uthanaka, to the background of the Bani, why Maharaj wrote this Bani for us, why they blessed us with this Bani, was to make all our swas safal. Each and every breath that we take, in order for it to be safal, used at its best, Maharaj gave us this Bani. It has 24 Ashtapadiyan and there are 24 hours in a day and a night. So Maharaj says by reading this Bani, all the breaths that you take in these 24 hours will be fruitful just by reading one Sukhmani Sahib. 24 meaning 12 hours of the day, 12 hours of the night. We can say that we try our best to do Simran and to connect to Guru Sahib during the day, but what about at night? Maharaj accounts for the time we're sleeping as well. They say if you do one Sukhmani Sahib, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, whenever it is, it accounts for all 24 hours. So let's take that into account and let's slowly start to implement that into our lives. If we can't read it every day, it's okay. Nobody's forcing us to start really hard and then not be able to carry on. On the other hand, if you want to read it every day, but you can't read the full Bani, you can't read the Sampuran 24 Ashtapadiyan, start small. Read half of half. Even if you read one Pankti, it will account to something. The aim is not to get through it, it's to understand and implement. But obviously, if you connect by reading fast and completing the whole Bani, that's also a blessing in itself. So that's just something to take away, that try and implement at least a little bit on your daily basis, even if it's just the beginning, or maybe just one Pankti that resonates with you. So this Bani, Mahalla Panjwa, it was written by Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, our 5th Guru. The Bani was written at Ramsar Sarovar. This is really important because we all go to Harmandir Sahib, we all go to the Golden Temple and we think that the Bani was written over there. Maharaj didn't uchar the Bani at the Golden Temple. The Sarovar in Harmandir Sahib is Ramdas Sarovar. And it's also mentioned in Gurbani when Maharaj says Ramdas Sarovar Nate. They give many references of the Ramdas Sarovar. That's not where Sukhmani Sahib was written. Sukhmani Sahib was written at the same place where Ad Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj was composed as well. So most of the Bani that we have today was actually blessed to us at Ramsar Sarovar. Again, I emphasize the importance because we all take out time to go all the way to India to do darshan of Sri Harmandir Sahib, but we forget about the other sarovars. There's Panj Sarovar. And the reason I mention this is because in our Maryada, it's mentioned that if we do Panj Sarovar the Ishnan, then the Ishnan is safal. Ishnan is when you dip your whole body in the Sarovar, but there's also Panj Ishnan where you wet your feet, your hands and your face. The 5 Sarovars are Ramsar Sarovar, where Sukhmani Sahib was written, and if you go there, you'll see that there's a tree which has been preserved, that Maharaj used to sit under that tree, and this is where they uchard that Bani. Then you have Ramdas Sarovar, which is the one in Sri Harmandir Sahib, the Golden Temple. You have Bibek Sar, the Sarovar and the Gurukar. Santokh Sar, the same, it's a Sarovar and a Gurukar. And Kaul Sar. Kaul Sar is the Sarovar which is right next to Sri Harmandir Sahib. Baba Atal Rai Gurukar, the Sarovar that's there is Kaul Sar. So the least that we can do is that when we go to the Golden Temple, just walk 5 minutes more, go to Baba Atal Rai Ji's Gurdwara, do Matha Tek and do Panj Ishnan at Kaul Sar Sarovar. Maharaj has given us this Updesh for a reason. They want to bless us even further. They want to make our yatra safal. We say it in our das ke yatra safli karni, that make the effort that we've gone through to come this far, make it safal, make it fruitful. So let's bear that in mind, that the next time we go, at least try and go to Kaul Sar Sarovar, do Panj Ishnan, splash some water on your face, and then go to Sri Harmandir Sahib. So this Bani is written in Rag Gauri. The Rag that's given is Gauri. The mood of this Rag is one that makes you want to strive hard to reach a goal. So Maharaj is giving us that ambition, that cha to reach a certain goal that we have set in our life. But it also, in the same Rag, gives us the understanding that we have to remain humble. It might not make sense now, but as we move through the Bani, we'll see how Maharaj has done that very beautifully for us. They've encouraged us to work very hard to reach a certain goal. That goal could be connecting with our Guru, but at the same time, they've made sure to remind us to stay humble. So that's the Rag that Maharaj has used. The Bani starts, so Gauri is the Rag, Sukhmani is the name of the Bani, Mahalla Panjavan is the fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. It then starts with Salok. So there's 24 Saloks in the whole Bani. And it's so beautiful how Maharaj has described what a Salok is. They say if you break down the word, it's Swa Lok. Swa Lok meaning Gyan da Prakash. That reading each Salok will take us closer to knowing our true selves, to knowing who we truly are. Because I'm sure now we understand that we're not this body, we're not the mind, we're not the thoughts and the feelings, we're something much deeper. I've repeated it various times and I will continue to do so because Maharaj tells us how chanchal this brain is, this mind. It forgets the good things very easily, so we constantly need to remind it. Maharaj tells us, Man tu jot sarup hai, apna mool pachan. They also say, Sab meh jot hai soya. They explain to us in various different Baniya. They say, Jami jaman ke bak hai, samast ek jot hai, na kaat hai, na baad hai, na kaat baad hota hai. They explain to us in Dasam Bani through Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. They explain to us in Sohela Sahib, which we read every day. Maharaj has explained to us countless times that we are not who we think we are. It's a trap. It's an illusion. When we think, I am this body, I am this mind, I am these feelings that I'm feeling. I feel angry, I feel happy. Then what are you? Are you the happiness or are you the anger? You're none. It's all an illusion. So Maharaj is explaining to us to dig deeper, find out who you truly are. And how do we do this? By reading these saloks. Because Maharaj tells us that through these saloks we'll get Gyan da Prakash. We'll understand that Prakash inside of us. We'll understand who we truly are. That Jot Sarup that Guru Sahib talks about, the light, it will be revealed to us through these saloks. Guru Sahib then go on, Ik Oankar Sat Gur Prasad. So throughout this Bani, I will point out that there is a desperate need for Santhya. It's so important to know how to pronounce everything that Maharaj has given us. Because we need to think about it, that if Maharaj went through so much hard work with their Likhari Singhs and their Sangat to actually write the Bani the way it's written, why should we be lazy, apatil kyo kar deya, that we pronounce it how we like? Let's put in a little bit of effort. Let's learn. We've got the resources. The classes are available. Let's learn how to pronounce Good Bani the way it was meant to be pronounced. We start here with Ik Oankar, not Ik Oankar. You need to break it down because that's how Maharaj wrote it. Why did they write it? So that we'll understand what it means. Oang is a sound. In English, we might call it the Big Bang. Otherwise, Hindus call it Om. It's the exact same thing. Oang Kar. Kar stands for Akar. Akar is all of creation. So Oankar in itself, when we pronounce it correctly, what it means is that through the One, all of creation was created through that sound, Oang, what we call the Big Bang, and what we can also refer to as Om. The reason it's given to us that way, the reason the Ura is left open and not joined, is for us to get this understanding. So let's pay attention to the finer details. So, Ik Oankar. If we read the translations, it will say there is one God. That just covers Ik. Ik means there is only one. Oang Akar. That one created all of creation with that one sound. And it resides within and without of that creation. So as we can see, it's a lot deeper than just there is one God. And the more you look into it, the deeper it gets. Also, another disclaimer, the translations, the arth that I'll be doing today are not the only arth that exist, and it's not the final arth. A month later or a week later, I could translate it in a really different way, and the same goes for everybody. The way you understand it today is not going to be the same throughout your life. You'll understand it very differently at every stage of your life. Because Maharaj is Beyant, Gurbani is Beyant. We can never say this is what it truly means and this is the final translation, this is the final arth. So this is a mangal that Guru Sahib is doing as they write the Bani, as they start the Bani. I want to take a pause here and focus on the emphasis of a mangal. What is a mangal? In English we'll say it's an invocation, but if we break it up in Punjabi, mang ta lena. Appa mangdeya. We come here and we ask from our Guru. Appa etho lendeviya. We come here and we take from our Guru. That's what a mangal is. It's what we ask for and what we receive. We all have various things to ask for and we all want to take a million things away. But what does Guru Sahib tell us? What should we be asking for and what should we be taking away? It's in this one mangal. Ik Oankar Sat Gur Prasad. How will we get that realization that there is only one in all of creation? Sat Gur, through the true Guru's Prasad. Prasad meaning Kirpa. When Guru Sahib sees that we're putting in that effort to try and understand, we're putting in that effort to jap naam, to read Gurbani, then they bless us. Our Satguru gives us their Prasad, their Kirpa, so that we finally get the understanding that there is only one. Shak karo je dusar hoye. Maharaj aap kende ya, they tell us in their Bani that appa hi shak kar deya ke dooja hai gaya. There is no other. There is no duality. There is only one. Maharaj continues, Ad Gur-e Namaha. Again, I'm going to stop here and emphasize on the Santhya, on the pronunciation. Let's not rush through the Bani and say Ad Gur-e Namah, Jugad Gur-e Namah. Maharaj didn't write it like that. They wrote it very specifically so that it would resonate with us differently. Ad Gur-e Namaha. Everything is very intentional. Same, Jugad Gur-e Namaha. Sat Gur-e Namaha. Sri Gurudev-e Namaha. Let's not put the A with the rest of the word. And let's not say Namah, because that's not what it is. So just something to be mindful for as we read the Bani. Let's be really specific and conscious of our pronunciations. Because it also changes the meaning. When we get that laziness, when we do that till, that it's easier to read fast, it's easier to just pronounce it the way we want, we're changing the meanings of Gurbani. And I'm going to share a Sakhi as to why Santhya was created. I didn't plan on sharing it, but it seems like it's the perfect time. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj is the one who started Santhya. Santhya is learning how to pronounce Gurbani the correct way. It starts with the Penti Akhar, the 35 letters of our alphabet, Ura, Ada, As you say it, your tongue has to roll. I know it's really hard for us, but we'll get there. It starts with the Penti Akhar. We go through Balupdesh. You go through Muharni. The meaning of Muharni is Munu Harnaya. So when you get tired, when you get frustrated, don't stop. Carry on. Because the aim is for you to defeat your mouth. Once you can join words, you make letters, you make sentences. After doing all of that is when you then start reading Japji Sahib. It's not straight away. It's a long way, but it's worth it. The reason that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj started Santhya was because one day in their darbar, a Gursikh was reading Gurbani, because that was common in Guru's darbar. It's not so common here. If Maharaj is Prakash, or if you come and sit in the darbar, you don't have to check your phone. You don't have to wait for the program to start. You can sit and read Gurbani. You can read it to yourself, you can read it to your Guru, you can read it to the Shastra. That's what a darbar is meant for. It's not to come wearing your new clothes and wait to hear a new Shabad, to see how Gyaniji is going to sing today. It's for you. You've come here for yourself so that you can grow. So in Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's darbar, Maharaj used to sit on their takht and Sangat used to read Gurbani. There was one Gursikh who was reading Gurbani for them, and they kept making this one mistake. They read the Pankti once, Guru Sahib said, read it again. They read it for the second time. Maharaj looked at them, you know, the look we all get from our parents when we've made a mistake. And Maharaj said, read it again. The third time that the Gursikh read the Pankti, the same way that they've been reading it from the very beginning, Maharaj told their Singhs to actually go and beat that Sikh. They said, go and slap him. And this Gursikh was so shocked. He came to Maharaj at the end of the divan when Maharaj went back to their room. And they said, Maharaj, I had a benti. I needed to ask you something. That ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫਲ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਮਦੂਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੈਂਦੀ, that we get fruits here and later on once we pass away Jamdut won't beat us up. The Gursikh goes that ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਮਾਰ ਪੈ ਗਈ. I didn't have to wait for Jamdut. I got beaten here in your darbar. But I was reading your Bani. What happened? Why did that happen? Maharaj explained to him that I told you to change it the first time. You didn't understand my ishara. I told you the second time that try again. You should have realized you're doing something wrong. Finally, the third time when you made the same mistake, I had no option but to teach you the hard way. Maharaj explained to the Sikh that there was no other option but for them to be beaten. So sometimes when our parents rough us up a little bit, it's for the best. Guru Sahib then goes on talking to that Gursikh, and they explain to them that by pronouncing the Pankti the wrong way, you've changed the whole meaning. The Pankti was Ka Jane Gur Sura, meaning that the Guru knows everything. What the Gursikh said was Ke Jana Gur Sura. La do lav da farkiya. It's just the difference between having your mouth closed and slightly open. But we get lazy. It's easier for us to say A instead of A. Nobody wants to make that face when they're reading Bani. But that was the mistake. The difference between opening and closing your mouth. Guru Sahib said by saying Ke Jana Gur Sura, what you've said is that the Guru Surma knows absolutely nothing. What the Pankti says is Ka Jana Gur Sura, that Guru Sahib knows everything. Maharaj says the same way that you feel hurt because you've been beaten, I feel hurt because you've changed the meaning of the Bani. They take it a step further to say, when we're doing part from Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj and we make a mistake, it's as if we're twisting their limbs. It's like we've taken Maharaj's arm and we've twisted it. In a way, that's Beadbi that we're doing. But Maharaj also explains to us that if we don't know, it's okay. If we haven't done Santhya, but we have that Cha to read Bani, it's okay to make mistakes. The Sakhi is not to scare anybody so that you don't read Gurbani again. The Sakhi is to motivate you to learn the correct pronunciation. There's nothing wrong with trying to read a Bani you've never read before and making mistakes. Maharaj is the one who forgives us. But if you know you can take Santhya, especially of Japji Sahib, it's the very first Bani, we should all have Santhya of Japji Sahib. And the worst is if you've done your Santhya, but you're running late and you're lazy, you make those mistakes, and you know you've made the mistake because you've done the Santhya. Now that's when we're truly hurting our Guru, which means we're then hurting ourselves because we're changing the meaning, not allowing us to understand. So just my benti on that let's all please take that step towards our Guru. Let's all please put in that effort to learn Santhya. Let's at least do our Penti Akhar and not make mistakes intentionally. Don't be in a rush. Don't get lazy. If your mouth needs to be open, it needs to be open. Doesn't matter how it looks, it's not embarrassing. So that's on Ad Gur-e Namaha. Let's not forget that. Now when we go into the meaning, it's Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, our fifth Guru, doing namaskar to the Gurus before them. Ad Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. Ad Gur-e Namaha. Jugad Gur-e Namaha. Guru Angad Dev Ji Maharaj. Namaha means that I fold my hands and put my head before you. Main namaskar kadda thanu. That's what Guru Sahib is doing to the other Gurus, doing a namaskar. Sat Gur-e Namaha. Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj. Sri Gurudev e Namaha. Guru Ram Das Ji Maharaj. Because it's Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, the fifth Guru, who's writing the Bani. For us, because we know we have 10 plus 11th Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, we must do namaskar to all of them. We can't pick and choose. That's not Sikhi. We can't say, I like Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj. I don't really know the other three. Maybe I like number 5. I don't like number 10 because they were a bit aggressive. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj brought Shastar and war, and you don't get to pick and choose. It's the exact same light from Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, and now in Tan Tan Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is that one light. We also don't have the choice to say that I connect more with Guru Sahib and not Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, because they came in physical form, but Guru Sahib is right here. If the form is different, it's because we have a lacking. Maharaj in their Bani says, Sacha Satgur kya kare je sikha mein chook. If the fault is with the Gursikh, what can Guru Sahib do? Maharaj has explained to us the light is the same. From Guru Nanak Dev Ji, all the way through to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, into Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, it's one light. Let's not pick and choose. Let's do our namaskar to all 10 and the 11th as well, Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. That's how the Bani begins. That's the first salok. Even if we can just do that on a daily basis, it will help change our pronunciation. It will connect us closer to our Guru. And then Maharaj takes us forward to Ashtapadi. Again, I have to mention the pronunciation. Appa sare Ashtapadi kehande ha, par bindi likhi nahi hai. There is no bindi in the sassa. So why do we say Ashtapadi? It's not Ashtapadi. Let's be mindful of that. In Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, there's not one bindi. Shabad doesn't exist. It's Sabad. There is no bindi in any Bani present in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. The only place you'll find a bindi is in Sri Dasam Granth Ji Maharaj. Zafarnama, za. That's a bindi. Let's not put it where it doesn't belong. So the next time we read Sukhmani Sahib, be mindful to say Ashtapadi. Don't change it, don't add anything, just keep it the way it is, because that takes us to the meaning. Ast means 8, Padi means parts, Pauriya. Here we have 8 Pauriya, and each Pauri has 10 Pangtiya. That's one Ashtapadi. And there's 24 Ashtapadiya in the whole Bani. So the whole Bani has 24 Ashtapadiya, 24 Saloks. That's Sampuran Sri Sukhmani Sahib. Now let's go into the very first Ashtapadi. The first pankti, Simro, Simar, Simar, Sukh Pavo. It's so easy to remember, but have we ever questioned, Maharaj, why do you say the same thing 3 times? Simro, Simar, Simar. Is it not enough to say it once? Guru Sahib is teaching us so much. The first one, Simro, is an order. It's a updesh, it's a hukam. Maharaj sanu kende a ke Simro. This is what you have to do. How do we do it? Simar, Simar. We have to repeat. Some people might say, why is it not enough to say Vaheguru once? You don't know if it will be enough, only Guru Sahib knows. Maharaj has given us that updesh, barang bar, bar prabh japiye. Again, barang bar, bar. They've said it 3 times. In Ardas, we say Vaheguru 3 times at once when we say Chitte Aave. Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. 3 times. Let's question these things. These questions are going to take us closer, not further away. So the first one is Maharaj is giving us that updesh, that hukam, that this is your order. This is the first thing the Bani tells you, that what you are to do is to simar, is to jap. How are we to do it? Through repetition. Simar, simar. The result is sukh pavo. We'll go to the result later because Maharaj spends the whole Astapadi talking about the rewards, the results. Let's focus on the updesh for now, on the instruction. Again, we can look at it as man bacha karam. Our mind, our body, and our words. Let's use everything we have in order to connect. Simar, let's do that simran using our words, physically sitting down and saying Vaheguru. Let's use our body that when we do seva, seva is not limited to the Guru Ka. It could be just bringing your mom and dad a glass of water. In that moment, remember that it's beyond the act that you're doing. You're serving, it's seva. That's the same way you can simmer without sitting down and saying Vaheguru. Another way is that as you're giving them that water, in your mind you can say Vaheguru. Maharaj reminds us that Haath pao kar kaam sab cheet niranjan naal. Try and remember Akal Purakh Vaheguru with everything that you do. It could be as you eat. Instead of watching TV, do some simran. It could be as you work, as you wash the dishes. With everything that you do, Maharaj has given the human brain that capacity to multitask. So we can't say we can't do it, we just have to get used to doing it. It's hard, but we can do it. We're the only species in the 8.4 million who can actually multitask. So we all have the capacity to do it. We just have to try. And Vaheguru is not hard to remember. As you're doing your work, you can remember to say Vaheguru. But now it's up to you. So let's focus on the first bit. Simro, Simar, Simar. Sukh Pavo is the result. I'll link it back to Rera Sahib, which we read every day. And Guru Sahib says, Jis Simrat Sukh Hoye, Sagale Dukh Jaye. This stuck with me because I questioned how. Jis Simrat Sukh Hoye. Just by remembering you, I'll get so much sukh that Sagale, all my dukh will go away. I could be in physical pain, my back could be hurting, I could be in emotional pain. We're all in so much pain, but we only know the pain that we're going through. And then Maharaj says, Jis Simrat Sukh Hoye, that as we do that simran, we'll then get sukh, we'll get peace and happiness to the extent where all of our dukh will go away. Have we ever questioned, is that true? When you sit down to read Path or to do Kirtan, to do some meditation, do your legs not hurt? Does your back not hurt? Does that not distract you from your purpose? So how is Guru Sahib saying that as we do this, we'll get sukh and all of our dukh will go away? Even physical, our legs will stop hurting, our back will stop hurting. This is where we have to take it a step forward. And this is where I was talking about that I'll give you something to take home. When you go home, I would urge you to sit down with yourself, alone, in your own time, and think of something that you're extremely grateful for. It could be anything. But you're so grateful for it that when you think about that thing, you get overcome by these emotions that you forget about all your pain. Physical, emotional, any pain that you're going through, it disappears because of the gratitude you feel in that moment thinking about this one thing. We might think it's impossible, but Guru Sahib has told us it's possible. Jis simrat sukh hoye, sagle dukh jaye. It could be anything. Bringing it back to Sukhmani, Simro, Simar, Simar. Simro, think of that thing that you're extremely grateful for. Simar, the second time, break it down to realize that you don't want to be attached to that thing. It could be your family, it could be your pets, maybe a dog. Break it down to understand why does that dog make you happy? Because of the love it gives you, because of how much excitement it comes to greet you with. But what's the origin of the dog as well? Is the dog any different from that Jot Saroop inside of you? How does that dog have the capacity to give you so much love when a human possibly can't give you that much love at all times? The roop of Akal Purakh Vaheguru is love. True love is the nature of God, of that Jot Saroop. That's the second simar. The third and the final simar is then sit in that moment of gratitude for whatever it is you're grateful for, with the understanding of where it originated from. In hindsight, all you're saying is Vaheguru. Okay, Va, you're so amazing, because you're taking me out of this darkness of duality to make me think that it's the external thing giving me that sukh, bringing me into that roo, that light, that it is only you. Ek Oankar. So that's the task that I would like to give everybody today, that when you go home, please, it only takes 5 minutes, just sit with yourself. Find one thing that you can be grateful for, but grateful for the extent that it takes over. I'll give you an example for it to make sense with the Chali Mukte. So we just went through their Sakhi a few weeks ago, and now we remember the time where Bhai Maha Singh is in Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's lap, and they're bleeding, they're in so much physical pain. We never get to that level of pain. We get small, minor pains, but they still affect us. And in that moment, what did they say? Raj na chahu, mukt na chahu. How can you not ask for liberation in all that pain? Man preet charan kamalare. How do we get to that level? Bhai Maha Singh in that moment was so grateful that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj had come to give them darshan, that even though they were breathing their last and final breath, they didn't feel any pain. They didn't feel pain of separation, which is emotional pain. They didn't feel any physical pain from the war that they had just been in. But they felt overwhelming gratitude towards Guru Sahib that, Maharaj, you've come to give me your darshan. So as we think of what we are super grateful for, let's keep them in mind, that through all of that pain, that gratitude could take over to such an extent where they didn't feel that pain. So what are we grateful for that will take away that pain? Or how can we build that much love where we say to Guru Sahib that all I want is your love. I don't want anything else. How do we get there is by Simran. So Simran itself is to remember. The word Simran, when translated, is remembrance. So in reality, we're doing Simran all the time, because right now each and every one of you is thinking about something. That very thing you're thinking about, you're doing Simran of it without even knowing. Could be your family, could be your friends, could be your pets, could be your jobs, could be somewhere where you have to be. By thinking about it so much, you're doing it Simran. Because Simran is remembrance. Not realizing what we're doing Simran of is very temporary things. We could be sitting and thinking about our job all day. How can I do better? How can I do more? How can I be happy while I'm working? Because I have to do it every day. You're doing Simran of your job, of your work, not realizing that job is temporary. You could lose it at some day. If you don't lose it, it's not going to last forever, because you're not going to last forever. The same with your family. You could be thinking so much about your parents, your children, you're doing their Simran all the time, but it's temporary. Everything is temporary. The one thing we don't do Simran of is the one that's permanent, the one that's truly going to give us that sukh, because maybe we just haven't found a way to connect to it. So nobody's faulting anybody here. Let's just take time to find something that we connect to. Find that aspect of gratitude so that you can sit in that feeling of thankfulness every day. If you think about a time where you went to the beach or you went hiking and you climbed a mountain and you looked around and you said, wow, that awe in Punjabi would say, Vah. Essentially what you've just said is Vaheguru. Why do we think of these moments in our free time as well, or when we're not so happy? Why do we say, I need a holiday, I might want to go to the beach? Because it makes you feel happy. I might want to go for a walk. Being in nature could make you feel happy. Sit in that feeling. That's the Simran you want to do, of gratitude, of something that will take you a step deeper so that you can connect to that true sukh, instead of doing Simran of our everyday lives, which is just temporary. And it's not going to take us as far as doing Simran of Vaheguru will take us. Because our aim is to connect with the sukh inside of us. That's something we all want to bring out. Maharaj is telling us, simar, simar, simro, simar, simar, sukh pavo. As we sit in gratitude, as we meditate, as we jap naam, as we connect to our true selves, the result is sukh. We'll get that peace, that happiness, that bliss we're all looking for. They go a step ahead to say, Kal Kalesh. Again, it's Kalesh, but we're also used to saying Kalesh. We put the bindi for nothing. So, Kal Kalesh, Tan Mahe Mitavo. Tan Mahe means that these things exist within your body, whether or not you accept it. Kal and Kalesh exist within your body. Tan Mahe Mitavo. By doing this meditation, Simro, Simar, Simar, by doing so, you'll get rid of the Kal and the Kalesh inside of your body. In order to get rid of it, we have to understand what it is. So Kal comes from the word Kalpana. Kalpana are your thoughts and your desires. The thoughts and the desires that we constantly have. By sitting in that moment of gratitude, time will stop for a second. For that split second, you'll be overtaken by so much gratitude that you'll forget you were chasing something else. You'll forget you were having a thought, because the only thing on your mind at that time will be that thing giving you gratitude. So that's your kalpana, that's your kal. So when Maharaj says that kal will be taken away from your body, it's true, because you're grounded in that awe, in that gratitude, which will take over the thoughts and the desires for the future. Because when we think of our thoughts, our sankalpa, vikalpa, our kalpana, our furne, basically just our thoughts, it's either about the past or the future. You can't have a thought about now, because it doesn't exist. That moment of time does not exist. The now is again an illusion. How can you think about now? By the time you think about it, it's already past, which means you're thinking about the past. If you're planning something, you're thinking about the future. The place you want to be is in the now, where you don't have thoughts. We can do that by being grounded in gratitude. Again, it's a lot of hard work, it's not easy, it's not going to come overnight, but if you have that desire, that jar to get there, you can. So it's all about your personal effort. Maharaj has given you the instructions, they've given you the manual, the journal, whatever you want to call it. Now it's up to you as to how much hard work you want to put in order to get your results, if you want the results. Kal, Kalesh. Kalesh, there's 5 types of Kalesh that Maharaj has talked to us about. They've explained to us that there's 5 tarhan de Kalesh hunde a: Rag, Dvait, Avidya, Asamta and Abhivinesh. Rag meaning love. Love for temporary things, which becomes more attachment. Again, everything I've said, our job, our family, our car, our house, our phones, everything that we have love and attachment for is rag. Dvait is jealousy. When we're jealous of the other person, that they have what we don't have. It's a form of kalesh that exists within our body. Avidya is not having the knowledge of who we are. Vidya is knowledge. Avidya negates what it is, turning it into the opposite, which means it's not having the knowledge that Sukh resides within you. The next one, Asamta, is Hankar. We have Hankar inside of us. Each and every one of us have an ego. But Maharaj says we can get rid of it. The choice is ours. If you want to let your ego lead the direction of your life, or if you want to take charge. And Abhinivesh is the fear of death. We all have that fear. Is there anybody who sat here today who's not scared of dying? Or not scared of losing someone that they love? Because you could say, it's okay if I die, but maybe not my mom. It's still a fear of death. Maharaj says these Panch Kalesh will be taken away from us as we sit down to simmer. We'll do the last Pankti for today and then we'll wrap up. So the next Pankti, Maharaj says, Simro jas bisampar eka. Again, I have to go into the importance of the pronunciation because of how it's written. Maharaj has put a tippi on the word, which gives us the sound ang. Be careful not to put a gagga because it's not ang, ang. So when we break it down, it's biswang, which means sansar, and then par, biswam par, because when you have a tippi and a mamma, it automatically becomes a M sound. But originally the sound of a tippi is ang, ik o ang, it's open. So when we break it up, it's biswam par, sansar, and par, the one who's filled within the world, the one who's filled within each and every one of us, within everything that we can see. So Simro is the hukam that Maharaj has given us from the very beginning. All we have to do is simmer, remember that one thing that can give us gratitude. Jas is Hari Akal Purakh Vaheguru De Jas, the praises of that one. Because whatever gratitude we're feeling is because of that one. So Simro Jas Biswampar, of the one who is filled in everything in this world. Eka, that one. So the whole Pankti is reminding us that there is only one. And onui se marnaya, to that one. Let's not get attached to the smaller things that give us happiness. Let's break it down to understand the root is that ek. Naam japat aganat aneka. Again, aganat. Don't mispronounce it because it's written that way for a reason. Reason being, it means unginat. That means countless. As I mentioned, this Bani is written in Rag Gauri, giving us that motivation to strive for our goal, motivating us to simmer, to meditate, to connect, to feel gratitude, but again keeping us humble. Maharaj tells us, Naam japat aganata aneka. Ke sare naam jap diya, we're not the only ones. So then why do we get that hankar? Ke main naam jap diya, I wake up, I do my part. I sit down with the Gutka Sahib. I remember Vaheguru. We've got Hindus, we've got Christians, we've got Muslims, you've got Buddhists, you've got so many different religions, so many different people. You've got atheists who don't believe in God, but still they believe in a higher power. So why do we feel like Appaya jo kar diya? I'm the only one who reads Sukhmani Sahib. I'm the only one who says Vaheguru. Maharaj is saying no. The purpose of this rag is to keep you humble. Strive for your goal. Put in your best effort to connect. Do your part every day. Say Vaheguru every single day. Don't stop. But don't let it get to you that you're the only one who does it. Because Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, in their Bani, Sri Dasam Granth Ji Maharaj, they say, Beyant, Beyant, Beyant ko Karant Paath Pekhiya. Ke Beyant, Beyant, Beyant Han. It's not one, it's not two, it's not a million, it's Beyant. There is no number, there is no count for the amount of people who are connecting to that ik. Either through meditation, through Gurbani, through Kirtan, through Seva, through all these, through yoga, through all these different things that we can't even think of. Everybody has their own way of connecting, but who are they connecting to? That one. That ik, Akal Purakh Vaheguru. Their names can be different. Koi bole Ram Ram, koi Khudaye, koi seva Gosaya, koi Alaye. Doesn't take away that it's ik, Ram, Khuda, Allah, Hari, Krishna. They're all one. It all stems Va, He, Gu, Ru. The word itself is made up of Hari, Ram, Gopal, Vasudev. But if I say that, we'll say this is Hinduism, a Brahmanvadya. It's not. What does Vaheguru mean? Where did it come from? Who did the tap in each jug on which akhar? What does each akhar mean? It's the same thing. Let's not get caught up in duality. We're all one. So Maharaj is explaining to us कि नाम जपत अगणित अनेक है. सारे ही नाम जपदे आ, आपां खास नहीं आ. But that doesn't mean we get to stop. And we're not allowed to have a big head about it. We all have to put in the effort, but remain humble at the same time. So I will leave with that. I will end today with that because I've given you a task to take home. And Maharaj has also reminded us that this is the best place to stop because we need to be humble. We're motivated to do something, go home and sit in that moment of gratitude, write it down on a paper, there's nothing wrong with that, and break it down to the element that there is only one. And then remind yourself you're not the only one doing this, so don't let it get to you. You're looking for sukh, you're not looking for vadiyai, you're not looking for fame. Kaho Nanak, sab teri vadiyai, koi na na jana mera. Let's end with that ardas. So please forgive all my mistakes and please take my benti that please go home. It only takes 5 minutes. Think about it, write it down on a paper, draw it, whatever you want to do, but sit with it. It will help you so much. Lekha katahana chutiya khen khen pulan har baksan har baksala nanak pare utar. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह.